born November 15th, 1947 in Pasadena, California at 11:35 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we know that Bill is a Scorpio, and he has actually 4 planets in Scorpio at the high point of his chart. Being born around noon that he was is a very strong sign for leadership, because the sun is in the position of high noon at noon every day. He was born around noon, and all the way back to the ancient practitioners of astrology, the kings of a nation, the leaders of a country, or the leaders in battle, whatever, were usually noontime charts, or because the sun at the height of the sky was said to be a very powerful sign for leadership. So with Richardson, this is a born leader. His moon is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius deals with foreign governments and foreign policies and education and foreign cultures. We know that Richardson is bicultural and bilingual, but he also has the great, incredible ability to speak to anyone, anywhere, and to sit down and be a really good negotiator. So we have 12 houses in the astrological wheel, and each house represents something different. It's a different domain, and this is where the planets are housed. So an empty house doesn't mean the house isn't working. It's as if you live in a house with 12 rooms, and when the planets are in certain houses, they pick up more energy, or they're more vibrant in that particular house. So it might mean that you spend more time in that room dealing with that issue. So the 7th house is the house of partnership. It's the house of alliances. It's the house of friends and partners, but it's also the house of open enemies, as contrasted to the 12th house, which is the house of secret enemies. So you'd actually rather have your enemies in the 7th house so that you can know who they are and where they're coming from and be quite open, rather than sneaking up behind the scenes. So this is the planets that I was saying that a lot of people shy away from that are in his 7th house are the planet Mars, who is called the ancient god of war, the planet Saturn, who is Father Time but also the teacher, and people tend to have, sometimes people tend to have problems with Saturn, and Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and transformation. So this is a heavy situation in terms of these 3 planets being all aligned in his chart. His moon is what we call way out of bounds in astrology. In other words, it's at about 5 to 6 degrees higher latitude than most of the planets stay. You know, the planets move along the ecliptic, which is the path of the planets around the sun, and the Earth around the sun, which is around 22.5 degrees. Well, Bill's moon is at about 26.5 degrees. So he's the moon is way out there, which is again the public, and the ability to get a lot of support, get a lot of people supporting him. It's also someone who has very large appetites, very strong appetites, and endless hunger, you might say. It's someone who will continually reach higher, and also who stands pretty much head and shoulders above the rest of the crowd. I think politically it probably wouldn't be a good choice for Obama to pick Richardson at this time as his vice president. And also I tended to look ahead a little bit and to look on those maps I was telling you about, which are locational maps. Richardson's chart isn't strong enough right now to be either president or vice president. I think it's highly doubtful that this would be the ticket for now. But if we fast forward 4 years, I think by 2012, Richardson has a much better chance to be in one of those 2 top spots in the nation. So my vote for Richardson as Secretary of State. I don't care who's president. He would be the best Secretary of State we could ever have, because he knows exactly how to sit down with friends, with enemies, and get the job done.